Hey folks, Tuesday night was the 5th episode of Blind Auditions on Season 3 of The Voice on NBC. I don't think we really saw any potential winners this time around. I mean, some of them were okay, but I don't think any of them were as strong as some of the others that we've seen already. One thing is for sure, though. A night of underwhelming talent can only mean it was a good night for Team CeeLo. Cee Lo Green was able to pick up 4 acts, which is kind of good for him. I think that's the most he's ever picked up in one night. And some of them actually even chose him, which is kind of rare because he usually builds his team by turning around for singers that the other coaches won't turn around for. And some of them chose him, so good for him. Levine picked up 2 acts. Christina Aguilera only got 1, and Shelton rounded out the night with a big fat 0. The first blind audition of the night was 33-year-old Trevanne Howell. She's a single mother, and she had her first child when she was only 17. Now she wants to prove to her children that you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. And if by anything she means being a receptionist that can't quite pull off a Whitney Houston cover, well then she showed them. She sang I Have Nothing, and no one turned for her, and it was a little bit of a mess. I did feel sorry for her because you could tell that somewhere in there was a good singer, but she's not at the Whitney Houston level. Her problem is that she thinks she is, and I suspect that her friends have been telling her for years, "Girl, you sound just like Whitney." The problem is she doesn't, and she has no self-awareness. She should have done a simpler song, but it's too late now. Next was 24-year-old Collin McLoughlin, who was in college for music business, but he couldn't handle that and singing at the same time, so he dropped out of school and moved back in with his parents, and he only had a year left. Needless to say, they were not thrilled about that, and I can't say I blame them. Spending all that money so he can have a good education, and then he's just going to flush it down the toilet? He wouldn't have moved back into my house. Anyway, he sang Wild World, and it was really pretty good, but I found myself hoping that nobody would turn around for him so he could take his parents' advice and finish his education. It's really becoming a common theme on these shows where people are giving up everything to chase their dreams, and I just find that a little bit irresponsible because it rarely works out in the end. Did you hear how the crowd cheered when he said that he dropped out of school? What are these people thinking? I mean, he only had a year left. Music is still going to be there in a year, and the odds of you actually making it are slim to none. All of the coaches did turn around for him except for Christina. Collin ended up going with Adam. His mom was backstage saying, "I was wrong, I admit it." It was one audition. What's going to happen when he finds out that he's battle round fodder and he ends up back in your basement? He's going to wish he had that degree. Next was 17-year-old Jocelyn Rivera, who had neurological deficiencies when she was a wee tot, so the doctor prescribed music. But after hearing her sing Kelly Clarkson's Stronger, I think she might need a second opinion. It's not that she's a bad singer, it's just yet another case of a decent singer with possible potential and no self-awareness. That song just swallowed her up. I thought it was terrible. I really didn't expect anybody to turn around for her. Christina and Blake did, but Christina must have no peripheral vision because she didn't even know Blake turned around until he told her. And she was sitting right there beside him. They went at it for a couple of minutes, but Jocelyn ended up going with Christina. Next was 24-year-old former race car driver Benji. Now, Benji doesn't have a last name, kind of like the dog in that movie. How many of y'all are old enough to remember that Benji the dog? Benji had to give up race cars because he ran out of money. Now he wants to pursue music. He sang Knockin' on Heaven's Door. When it started, I loved it. This guy has a great voice. But he has the worst vibrato that I have heard all season. And we've heard a lot of them this season. What is up with that? It's like the season of billy goats and sheep. They're going to have to bring a damn border collie in there to get these contestants to the battle rounds. It is nuts. So it's kind of disappointing because I really liked his voice, except for the botched scream at the end. The first scream was pretty good. The second scream wasn't that good. Adam and CeeLo turned around. Benji went with Adam. Next was short clips of Team CeeLo inductees Todd Kessler singing Maggie May, Taub singing Feelin Good, terrible song, beautiful man, and Emily Earle singing Ring of Fire, which was a little interesting. Next was Lorraine Ferro, who is 52, going on 13. What was this woman? Oh my God, she was so wacky, and her mother was so adorable. I just love, love, love old people. They're like giant puppies. Anyway, Lorraine is a voice coach, and she's been dying to be on the show since the first time she saw it. This lady is more hyper than a coffee-drinking kid. I loved her. I so wanted her to be good. Why Meemaw chose to sing Skyscraper is a little baffling to me. She has the maturity and the mindset of a teenage girl. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the voice of one. I bet she's got Justin Bieber posters all over her wall. Or One Direction. Now, as much as I wanted her to do well, this was the equivalent of Liza Minnelli barking out a Demi Lovato song, so it just didn't work. Nobody turned around for her, but she was thrilled to be there anyway. And the last of the night was 40-year-old Mycle Wastman, who was raised by his grandparents since his parents died when he was a kid, and his grandfather died a week and a half before his audition. Aww, poor thing. Anyway, Mycle came to music a little bit late in life. He tried a million different things, military, construction, never could stick with anything. It's the classic sign of being a scatterbrain. I know that feeling all too well. I'm approaching middle age and I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. For his audition, he sang Let's Stay Together, and it was really good for the most part. All of the coaches turned around except for Christina. She was right on the verge of hitting that button at the end when he went into falsetto, and it sounded a little strained. So she pulled back. Adam and CeeLo gave him a standing ovation and gave their sales pitch. Mycle went with Cee Lo Green. Anyway, that was it. Leave me a comment and let me know if you liked anybody last night or if you thought it was kind of blasé like I did. And I'll see you folks next time.